My name's Aaron, welcome back to my channel. How are you? I'm fantastic and I'm doing really well. Today I'm viewing Guerlain Shalimar. This is an eau de parfum. The cost is £81 to £108. Tonic, top notes and fresh flowers and bergamot are calmly interpreted, like the Savoy disorder of rumple. I can't bother reading all that. Powdery notes of iris, jasmine and rose, creamy softness of addictive vanilla, penetrating charm of iris, open axe and tonka bean orchestrate intimate symphony of scents. And I often wondered how marketing always put that bit together. So this absolutely complies with all the legal information and I'm very happy about that. Now this is a classic formulation and I was doing a little bit of reading about it and I'm really curious to smell how they have changed this and kept it the same when IFRA restricted jasmine and rose and all these sort of things. Apparently IFRA is now restricting isoeugenol within rose, which I don't know quite in the future what's going to happen with Perfumer. It's a little worrying to me that all these beautiful raw materials are being heavily restricted. Oak moss has been reduced right down. Oak moss is a beautiful raw material, and then rose. I love using rose, so it makes me feel very, very sad. And I would personally love a future where people can decide if they want a raw material. So like food allergens, this contains this. So if you're an allergic to this raw material, you can decide whether to use it or to not use it. I think that's far more sensible. I think we're all adults. I think we should be policing beautiful raw materials. That's personally how I feel. That's obviously as a perfumer, I would love to use some raw materials that I can't use, or use things that were really high concentrations that you can't use because of it's all legal. And that's, I think, so sad, personally. Do we have our fragrance samples? Are we engaged with the higher self? Let's get testing. So you've got the powderiness of the inones combined with vanilla. That is straight off what you're getting from this. Coumarin. So this primarily smells of, it's going to settle, but coumarin, vanilla, ionones, citronellal, geraniol. That's sort of what you can sort of hit with. This is so lily of the valley as well, and that's hydroxycitronellal. So I'm just getting loads and loads of aroma chemicals, which is absolutely fine. To me, it smells incredibly heady, like incredibly floral. But it settles really well actually, so I'm really delighted that it settled a bit, because it was a little bit sort of, if I'm completely honest with you, it smelt very noxious and I was just hit in the face with inones and vanillin, which I thought, oh gosh, if this is going to stay like this, I don't really know. But it's projecting beautifully and it's settled really nicely, so I'm very happy about that. This is nothing like what I was expecting from this. To be really honest with you, I didn't know what I was going to expect, but I did think it was going to smell old lady-ish. I didn't know really how to think. I had a little bit of anticipation and trepidation going into this review because I thought, oh dear. But it's very nice, and this is what I'd consider an oriental, which is my favorite type of perfumery, and this smells just really classic French perfumery. So this is primarily built upon a lot of naturals with aroma chemicals supporting the formulation. Patchouli, and I love patchouli, so you absolutely have patchouli. I would be very surprised if within an oriental formulation if you don't have patchouli. It just gives a greenness, a denseness to a formulation, and it can help to anchor it to the skin. Sandalwood in this vetiver, it's very lovely. The top note is bergamot, which I do love using at the moment. I should be using it quite a lot, and so this is just really nice bergamot flickering through the formulation. This has some balsams, and so this is really what I would think of as a classic oriental formulation. It's not gourmandy, which is one type of oriental. This is just like very classic oriental French perfumery. Classic, very, very stable. This, I'm quite surprised actually that how after the annoying on the skin, this is dried down and settling into the skin. On to my final thoughts. I think this is brilliant. I think it is classic. It is French. I could just imagine this is a staple day-night fragrance for someone. I think this is something that would be really loved and you'd go to. It is not too old ladyish. It's not too lipsticky, not too handbaggy. It is floral, sweet, tonka bean, but it is powdery, and that is a combination of the ionones and vanillin. And one thing I really want to say is that we'll be talking about Goddess later on in the year, but men do like floral combinations. You know, I have to bear that in mind as a perfumer going forward, that some men really do like heavy floral formulation, heavy floral and vanilla, and that's absolutely fine. And you should never be put off through loving what you love. I love, very personally, benzoin. I love rose. Rose is just opulent and beautiful, and sandalwood, that's personally what I really love. I don't like all these very blue fragrances. I wouldn't wear them, I wouldn't reach them. I prefer darkness and patchouli and rose and vanilla. To me, that's a sensualness behind it, and that suits my brain. And when you're smelling a formulation, you really are going on your background, your history, early scent memories, and your personality as you go through life and become an adult. So this may be really suitable for some men, and likewise some very masculine scents can be really suitable for some women. I think we're sort of all moving and changing, and I don't think we should label ourselves into this is for a man and this is for a woman. You love what you love because you are you and you're unique. You may love very powdery, irisy, sweet, floral bouquets, and this is going to be absolutely for you. So I'll go through marks with you. The first 4 marks are for technical ability, whether I think it's technically brilliant, whether I think it complies with all the paperwork, whether I think it's safe and legal. Absolutely, I think this is classic Oriental perfumery. I'd expect nothing less from this massive house. I can understand why this is a staple, and it just is what it is. I'm going to summarize it as powdery, dry vanilla with bergamot as the top note. There isn't any Heady and Isu Super or very, very little musk in this, which I'm finding very, very surprising actually, but not really, because if this was developed in, I think, 1930, 1940, you wouldn't have had those raw materials then. So this really is working on naturals with aroma chemicals, and they're using the naturals of sandalwood to anchor it to the skin. So I think this is particularly brilliant. So I'm going to mark this a 4 out of 4 for technical ability. The price, I think, is spot on, because the amount of naturals and aroma chemicals and technical ability, I think this is really worth the price. Do I like it? No, I don't really like it, because for me it's too ice creamy, it's too coumarin, it's too going in too much direction with too much floral. But as I said to you, this really, I think, is someone's signature scent and would be a loved fragrance. So I'm going to mark this an 8 out of 10, and the 2 marks are just particularly because I don't like it. But I think if you love vetiver, woods, a lot of naturals, if you love naturals and if you love vanilla and iris and bergamot, this is absolutely for you, and you may surprise yourself if you love those notes. So I hope you love that review. Thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating, interesting content. Lots of moving hands and lots of fragrance reviews. Hope you're staying safe and well, and I'll see you soon.